Well, as the Secret Service rushed to get Donald Trump away from the chaos, have a look at the fumbling fumbleinas who comprise his security detail.
Joining us from the USA is host of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast, Brad Polumbo. Brad, what's going on with these Secret Service agents? I mean, they can't holster their guns. They're more concerned with securing their sunglasses than securing Donald Trump. They're running around like chooks without heads.
Yeah, it's a real clown show. I mean, we're going to need to have a serious inquisition inside the Secret Service, which is a federal agency, because there's no way to look at this. Everything that went down on Saturday night here in the U.S. and Pennsylvania during this attempted assassination, there's no way to look at it as anything other than a massive failure, both of strategic and execution and planning on behalf of the Secret Service. And also, former presidents don't get the same level of Secret Service protection that they do as actual presidents. And I think we might need to reevaluate that, especially given what went down, because the Secret Service did not seem up to snuff on this evening, and the consequences were almost incredibly dire.
Oh, it could have been so much worse than what it already is, Brad. What has to happen now by way of an investigation? I mean, you've got witnesses saying that they saw this man climb onto a roof, that the Secret Service were there, they knew about it. What happens next?
Well, there's got to be accountability. There needs to be a clear and transparent investigation with no partisan politics, nothing, no cover-ups, no trying to shield the bureaucracy from criticism. Frankly, somebody at the top probably needs to step down in some sort of ceremonial resignation, because you can't have this happen. They have a very difficult job, and one that takes a great deal of bravery to sign up to do, but they failed to do it. It really was terrifying scenes, chaotic scenes. Obviously, in the early hours after an incident like this, sometimes the facts that initially emerged later proved to have been not quite right. But some of the things we're hearing about how attendees at this campaign rally were warning the police there, warning Secret Service, look, there's somebody climbing on this building. And yet somehow that person still got off the first shot based on the reports we've heard so far. That is a really unusual and bizarre outcome for what is supposed to be an elite Secret Service force.
Yeah, Brad, well, while there's questions about the protection offered by the Secret Service, maybe Trump didn't need protection from the Secret Service. According to Lara Trump, he had divine protection. What do you think about her tweet and the graphic that she posted?
Well, look, if that brings her peace and that's how she's processing what's undeniably a tragic and traumatizing event for her family, power to her on that. I will say, whether it's divine intervention or just luck that this missed Trump's head by millimeters, or we would say inches, I don't know. I don't know how to overstate how big and important a difference it is in the trajectory of this country's future that those few millimeters were missed. Because, guys, it scares me to think what would have happened if that bullet had grazed just a few inches further over and killed Donald Trump. I genuinely think we would have had political violence and instability and polarization and conflict surge to dangerous levels I've never seen in my lifetime here in the U.S. And I, for one, of course, you never want to see anybody, whether it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump, harmed just because you disagree with them, unless you're, an immoral person. But I'm especially grateful to God, to fate, to chance, or to whoever it is that we have to thank for the fact that America's not in chaos right now, that Trump emerged from this largely unscathed and wasn't, in fact, killed, because I think it could have set off a genuine crisis in our country.
Absolutely, Brad. I completely agree with you. And look, here we go, Brad, in real true to form. The lefties seem to be having a complete meltdown about the fact that Donald Trump has indeed survived. I mean, listen to this woman.
I just found out about this It just happened. I haven't even had a second to process. You're telling me somebody finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew, and he missed! We were a second away! We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed! There was a white man attached to that trigger. I know it! We were a centimeter away!
Oh, seriously, Brad, these people are absolutely insane.
Demented, demonic, disturbing. These are the only words I have. And guys, I wish it was just one video on TikTok. At this point, I've probably seen 15 to 20, each with hundreds or thousands of comments lamenting the fact that the shooter missed Donald Trump and didn't effectively assassinate him. And look, obviously it's the internet, so there's always some crazy people out there, but the fact that there's so many young people on this app, and look, I report on TikTok and I've seen a lot of crazy stuff on there, but this one still takes the cake. They're worshiping or lamenting the fact that their political opponent wasn't assassinated. They're memeing and joking about an incident where innocent bystanders were shot and killed. Something is deeply broken in the minds and in the political sensibilities and in the online culture that some young people are caught up into. And these are dangerously radical online spaces where this kind of thing spreads unchecked and is either laughed off or openly agreed with. And it's just disturbing beyond words. It makes me really scared for a future where this generation or those people potentially have some form of actual power, because if this is any sign, I'm scared to see what they would do with it.
Brad, you're absolutely right. But I mean, while some lefty loons are lamenting that Trump wasn't killed, others are insisting the whole thing was staged. Have a listen to actress Amanda Seales, who reckoned the gunshots weren't real, the blood was all fake. Have a listen to this.
That was more staged than a Tyler Perry production of Medea Runs for President. This was, I believe, done to try to show his strength counter to Biden's fragility.
Brad, these people are so consumed with hate, they've lost all contact with reality, haven't they?
Yeah, there was nothing fake about this. It's a grotesque and irresponsible conspiracy theory with no basis in reality, no evidence behind it. It's everything they accuse people like Trump of doing, and he has done. He spread some weird conspiracy theories, right? But these are the same people who constantly talk about how dangerous that is, actually doing it applied to something gravely serious. And look, it doesn't even make sense on their own incoherent and bizarre terms. Trump is running away with the election. He does not need some false flag event to boost him in the polls. He's crushing Joe Biden, who is a vegetable at this point, it increasingly seems, in almost all of the polls. And the idea that they would, I mean, innocent people were killed in this event, just bystanders who were there, who were engaged in our democracy. You want to talk about an attack on our democracy? This is actually one of them. And we have people conspiracy theorizing that this was all some setup. I mean, it's total brain rot. It's total madness. It's total lunacy. And it demonstrates a complete deficit of respect and common decency. And from people with a platform to do this kind of thing in the aftermath of a national tragedy, it's just beyond disgraceful, if you ask me. And we live in a time of cancel culture where misgendering someone or an offensive tweet from 15 years ago can often get an actor or an actress fired. What consequences will this young woman face? Honestly, I mean, I doubt they'll have the same energy when it's something about Trump, but I could be wrong.
Indeed, I think you're sadly absolutely correct. Brad Polumbo, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.